Hey everybody, I'm Andy Smith. I'm a 30-year comic book veteran, having worked for Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Image Comics, Cross Generation, Ominous Press. You name it, I've probably worked for them. And I do other things art-wise outside of comics in the field of advertising. I've also written some books on drawing comics you might have seen. Drawing American manga superheroes, Drawing Dynamic Comics was my first book. And I also did the handy little How to Draw Superhero sketchbook where all you need is a pencil because you do all the work right inside the book. Enough about that. This is the Book Look series. The Book Look series is where I grab a book off my library. You can see the tons of books I have behind me. And I go through it page by page with you so you can see if it's a book that you might want to buy. I like to know what I want to buy before I buy it, and I feel this is a way to give you some insight into these books. So join me for today's Book Look. Thanks.
What's up, everybody? Happy New Year! It is 2024. Holy crap. I am Andy Smith, your host with the most. Excuse me as I clear my throat. I am going on 33 years as a professional comic book artist. Thank you for joining me for the Book Look of the new year, the first one. This is a book look going over 3 books. The reason is, guys, I hope you live near this store called Ollie's. Ollie's, good stuff, cheap. $1.99 for each of these. They're adult coloring books, which means they're supposed to be more detailed. Wonder Woman, Justice League. This one is awesome, guys. Batman Hush, Volume 1. Each one of these coloring books brand new, $15.99, $2 from Ollie's. Mine was stacked with these. This one's very cool because this Batman Hush, which we'll go through first. Let me just clear these other ones out of the way. Batman Hush was Jim Lee's first major work for DC some 20 years ago, and I loved it. I've got the trade paperback. I have the pencil edition DC put out just featuring Jim's pencils. If you want to see Jim's work in beautiful black and white with the inks by Scott Williams, $1.99. This collects issues 608, 609, 610, 611, and apparently Wizard Zero. So 4.5 issues of beautiful black and white, really nice reproduction, and bigger than comic book size of the Hush storyline. Word balloons, everything. I mean, this is a black and white trade paperback for $2. $2. I mean, you could just I just love this stuff so much. I'm getting tongue-tied. If you compare this with the oversized edition that hardcover DC put out just featuring Jim's pencils, it's just a great back and forth to see how Scott interpreted them. Now, there is an oversized Hush black and white noir hardcover DC put out that obviously collects the whole thing. You know, that book, brand new, I think is like $40 or so. I have seen it at a store called Second and Charles for like $20. And that's every issue of the storyline compared to just this, which is only 4.5 issues. But, you know, I'm good with this. It is square bound, so you can't really see the innards of the 2-page spread down the middle. But who cares? So this is one that I was just like, yeah, you know, for $2, when I was looking around Ollie's before the holidays for like last minute fun gift ideas and stuff. Yeah, this was like I said, a no-brainer. Sold, done. I'm there. So I'm not going to go through every page because it is pretty much the story, but it is just just really cool. You know, if you're a fan of Jim Lee and Scott Williams, which I am. So this book, like I said, had to get it. I don't know what the Wizard Zero thing they're talking about is that's in here. I'm guessing it's at the back of the book. You even have, I love this. They even, you know, it's a coloring book, you know, and if you could see me using air quotes, but they print the ink wash stuff that Jim did as well, which really isn't suited for, you know, a coloring book is supposed to be just black and white. Coloring book is also supposed to be generally just really open line without a lot of shadows either. That's what's funny about this. They call it an adult coloring book because it's more detail oriented and stuff, but hey, whatever. I'll take it. I'm trying to think if this even gets up to the, I guess we'll find out, to the stuff with Superman. Because I remember so vividly, I was working at CrossGen at the time when Jim made the jump to DC and was doing this stuff. And we were all just like, holy crap, we're so used to Jim being associated with Marvel than his Wildstorm stuff. Now seeing him do DC characters, and, you know, Superman appeared in this book as well. 2002, that's, wow, 22 years ago. But anyhow, back, you know, Superman was in it, and it was just like, I've always been more of a Superman guy than a Batman guy. So seeing Jim draw Superman was just such a thrill for me. Yeah. Oh, this is probably the best we'll get of Superman, is just that. I don't think we get to see much more in this. Like I said, the sad part, and it's not that sad, but 2-page spreads don't work in square-bound books because you can't lay them flat, so you miss stuff. But, I mean, honestly, as an artist, you should know not to draw anything important down the center of a 2-page spread, and Jim has that totally going on. So this is one of them. That's so freaking cool. Oh, it just ends before the Superman issues. I don't know if there's a volume 2 of this book or not. This says volume 1. Ollie's didn't have it. I'll keep my eye out. So there's that one. Now these are literally, these two are cool because all they did was pick just cool shots throughout the year. So, I mean, you've got George Perez, Brian Bolland, Jim Lee, Amanda Condor, Ross Andrew, H.J. Peter, original Wonder Woman guy, back Golden Age, Cliff Chang, Adam Hughes, and many more in here. And these are just cool because you can see some nice artwork in black and white. And like I said, I saw these when they came out for $16. And I was like, hard pass. Because I'm cheap. $5, not a hard pass. But I tell you what, $2, definitely not a hard pass. And this even says second printing. So, Dave Finch, Jim Lee. In the back, it does have a page breakdown of who the artists are. I do like this too because you can see the different inking techniques the guys use and stuff. And it really just shows a nice variety of style throughout it. I mean, classic George Perez, classic Brian Bolland. The reproduction is really nice on these to see the line work and such. Gil Kane, I think I have that issue. That was a cover for Terry Dotson. I mean, Terry and Rachel, just the way he does the hair just looks like liquid. Darwin Cook. I want to say Cliff Chang might have more pieces in this than even Adam Hughes does. I didn't go through and do a count. Classic George Perez when he was using a dip pen to ink with. I want to say he was using a 101. Read back in an interview way back in the 80s what type of pen he was using. You know, Dave Finch again, another beautiful Brian Bolland piece. Terry. So some really nice stuff. I mean, and it's cool to see like Terry Dotson next to a very old, at least 60-year-old, 50, 60-year-old Ross Andrew piece. And in black and white, without all the quote-unquote fancy colors, to me, the stuff holds up. You know, this holds up. That's just, I mean, that looks like it was done today, but it was just somebody doing a retro style. Of course, one of Adam Hughes' first covers. Adam had a long run on Wonder Woman covers. Jim Lee. So, you know, I am going through every page of this so you guys can see it. This is not one of my favorites. Part of it's just the foreshortening. It's just too, the proportion is just off. I'm not going to go totally into it, but like this hand, these hands are back here. Look how large that hand is compared to this hand, which should be really in the foreground with it coming at us. But great. I believe Mike Sikowski, inked by Dick Giordano. I remember this piece as a kid and just loving it. The cape. I copied this pose when I was in high school. Great George Perez. Another piece here, Ross Andru, Mike Esposito, at least probably 60 years old. Really cool. Yannick Paquette, Brian Boland. You know, if you really want to look at Brian Boland's brush work, Brian's a brush guy. This is before he switched over to computer. So nice brush work. Once again, Cliff Chang. Excuse me. So some really, really nice stuff here. That's Tony Daniel. This is one of my favorite Adam Hughes covers. I used to have every issue of Wonder Woman that Adam did the covers on, and I did a purge, got rid of them all. I only own a couple still. This is one of the ones I own because I just love, you know, the modern day versus old school thing Adam was doing here. Another Dave Finch. So just really nice. If you're really into the art. Oh, Ernie Chan, Vinnie Coletta. Like I say, I hope you guys have Ollie's near you. I bought this issue just because of this cover. This was the Neal Adams month where Neal redid some of his favorite cover layouts. And different inkers worked over them. This one was inked by Danny Mickey. The great Danny Mickey inking Neal Adams. I bought this, like I said, the comic. I don't even know who drew the inside of this book, but I just love that cover. That could be Penumbra holding up First Man. Oh. Another great Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. You know what? Terry Dotson and Cliff Chang and Adam Hughes are probably the most represented in this book now that I'm going through it with you guys. Terry might have more art than anybody else, actually. Shane Davis piece in the book. Look at that. That's Phil Jimenez. Back to George Perez. Another old cover there. Cool Jim Lee. So it's for $2. Oh, Aaron Lopresti. He did a cover. DC did their black and white adult coloring book covers for a month theme. I was lucky enough to do a Superman. Aaron did a Superman Wonder Woman. I own the book. That's very cool. I will say this I believe is Adam Hughes' first Wonder Woman cover. Back when Adam first started doing these in the 90s, if you were lucky enough, he had an email list of people, friends that he would email the cover around to and just be like, you know, don't show it to anybody. And I was on that list, and I got a few of these sneak peeks. And I mean, black and white, this thing's just gorgeous, but then you see it in color. It's just, wow. Another Dave Finch. Phil Jimenez after Rich Buckler. I actually own that original comic. Cliff Chang. Stuff I really like. Very Alex Tothe. Of course, Yannick stuff. Paquette, who I believe has switched over to doing a lot of stuff digitally as well. Dick Dillon and Jack Abel. Great Justice League here. I love Jack Abel's inks on anybody. Another Phil Jimenez piece. Big, obviously, George Perez influence there. And then speaking of the man himself, George Perez. So, and you know what? I like this because it shows Wonder Woman costumes throughout the ages as well. It's a handy reference. So if I want to do a drawing of Wonder Woman, I keep this next to my desk. I can look at the different era of costumes. Classic Brian Bolland there. I think that was, I know it was a cover, but I think they actually did a statue based on that drawing. Just look at that hair. Just gorgeous. And that's the other thing too. It just gives you different ideas if I, want to play with different ways to render hair and stuff. So very nice book. Another nice Brian Bolland, Cliff. And like I said, in the end of the book, it breaks down all the artists and such. This was cool. Ed Hannigan, Dick Giordano, Wonder Woman 300. So that's a cool one. And then they also had the Flash, which I got to admit, I kind of regret not getting now. So it's been a couple weeks. If I'm near the Ollies, I might check back. I should have picked it up because it was only $2. The one they didn't have was Superman, which I wish they would have, because in the Superman one, they actually did reproduce. Was it Superman or... Oh, now I'm trying to remember. It might not have been Superman. I did buy it when it came out brand new because it actually does feature the Superman cover I did for the adult coloring book. So Justice League, same type of thing. Lots of different artists here. This is Ed Benes. I like how they start off with the first appearance of the Justice League. Would have been great if this could have been reproduced at a higher quality, but, guys, 60 years old. But then you get, Tony Daniel, Jim Lee. And this is a test in a way because it's like, do I know the artist without looking at the signatures? Ed Benes. Some I did, some I didn't. Some pieces I've never seen. Like this is Gary Frank. I've never seen this Gary Frank piece before. I really dig it. I like Gary's inking over himself these days. Great Darwin Cook. I'm assuming that the Green Lantern symbol was put in Photoshop or something since it's not on the art. But at the same time, if it was, I don't know why it's not here because it's all digital files. Either way, very nice Darwin Cook piece. Just great perspective, just great style, man. Darwin was so good. This is interesting, this Terry Dodson piece, because you look at Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, and they're all really tight. Then you look at these secondary characters back here, and I mean, this just looks like I don't know how well you can see the Cyborg here, but got it. Just looks like a sketch. Doesn't even look finished. So I don't know if this is like the finished file, but these weren't. I have no idea. Nick Cardy on this cover. Nick Cardy drew just some great, beautiful women. Bulked up dudes. Oh, love this. One of my favorite artists, Doug Mahnke. His stuff has just grown and gotten so much better, but even back here, I guess you could say Doug's early days at DC when he was doing more solid blacks on his work. Just love that. Yannick really showing his Kevin Nolan influence. Some guys I don't know. This I know is Dale Eaglesham. That's Howard Porter and John Dell. This one doesn't go back into the history books as much as the Wonder Woman did. I don't believe with like the Golden Age stuff they were showing. Like this artist, this is this Scott Eaton? It says Eaton and Foucher. Yeah, I guess this is Scott Eaton. So Scott and I worked together at CrossGen. I haven't talked to Scott in 20 years. Great guy. Gentle giant. Scott's a really big dude, but just a gentle giant. Great artist. Howard Porter. Great classic there. Issue 9. Like this guy, I'd have to look in the back. I don't recall his name. Mike Allred. My favorite part of this is just the Batmobile. Love that car. Jason Fabok, who I believe is mostly digital. Somebody knows, let me know. But I didn't know that at first. When, Jason to me is, you can definitely tell he's Dave Finch inspired, but I heard he's mostly digital. I love that they didn't try to reproduce this Jim Lee piece over a 2-page spread. And they just did it as a single page, even though it's smaller. I do love the fact that they're doing these older covers and stuff. Giving love to some of these older guys that really built the foundation all of us are on now. Old George Perez right there. Nick Bradshaw, Art Adams' clone stepchild, if you would say. Then I don't think you'd have a problem saying, or is that actually Art? See, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure this is Nick. And I know I can look in the back, and I will, because all I have to look for is Brian Boland's name and see the artist before, because this is early Brian Boland stuff here. Late 70s, early 80s. Pretty sure that's Nick Bradshaw. Another Brian Boland. John Romita Jr. Man, I was excited when he jumped over to DC Comics just to see him his take on DC heroes. Inked by the great Klaus Janson. Another great Darwin Cook. Scott Collins, I believe this was a cover he did for the Adult Coloring Book Month stuff. Of course, Jim. Steve Scroach. I never know how to pronounce his name. Steve's a guy whose work I really enjoyed on the X books in the 90s. His current stuff, you know, I see where it's going, but it just doesn't do it for me. Yeah, personal taste. Ivan Rice. Getting to see his stuff in black and white. Just the beautiful inking on it. Most of this inking, by the way, is technical pen. Believe it or not, yes, a Rapidograph technical pen for that feathering. Jason Fabok. Good old Dave Finch, Jim Lee. Brian Hitch. That is on the left-hand side. That's Ivan Rice, but that is inked. That's not Joe Prado inking it. I'll have to look in the back to see who that is. Oh, Andy Kubert. I like it when Andy inks his own work. Very cool. Loved Andy's work on the X-Men, inked by Mark Pennington and Matt Ryan. Scott Williams inked one issue of Andy's X-Men stuff back in the 90s before he was the regular penciler on the book. And man, just what a gorgeous issue. Nothing against anybody else, but man, Scott Williams. Love this cover. Justice League number 63. Pretty sure it's Dick Dillon. It looks like Jack Abel inks for sure. Another Darwin Cook. Not sure I would have put this piece in the book. I mean, who cares? Oh, look, Fists of Power, whatever. Jason Fabok again. Like I said, I think he's all digital. Somebody out there let me know. Neil Adams. Look at that. I mean, early Neil Adams art. Probably a Carmine Infantino layout at this stage. Carmine was doing layouts when Neil first started over there. Jim Lee. This is Ivan Rice as well. This 2-page spread. Unique. Another Ivan. I wish there was more Doug Monkey in this. Doug had a huge run on Justice League. I'm surprised there's not. Barry Kitson art here. Another great Justice League. Another Nick Bradshaw cover. And I know it's Nick. That's not Art Adams. That's Nick. There are certain tells. But man, I guess if Art can't do it monthly, get Nick Bradshaw on a book. That is not Brian Hitch. It is, who did this one on the right-hand side? Fernando Passerine. This is Bryan Hitch, though. Another one. I'm glad they did the 2-page spread, not across the 2 pages, but like this. I love this lighting. Very Kevin Nowlan. What an influence. Bryan Hitch started off really doing an Alan Davis, and now he's definitely his own thing, but with big Kevin Nowlan influence. Jim Lee again, Yannick, classic cover there. Darwin, another classic cover. Like I said, I'm glad they give nod to these older covers and stuff. Derek Robertson. Oh, this is Jesus Saez, who's drawing the new Captain America over at Marvel. Cully Hamner, who this was for one of the coloring book covers as well. You know, Cully stuff, sometimes I look at it. I think Cully stuff is better suited for real people, stories, not superheroes. That's just my opinion. Tony Daniel. Another great Ivan Rice. Bryan Hitch. Bryan definitely has a certain way he does group shots of people and stuff. Greg Capullo, man. When Greg went to DC, once again, I love Batman, but he's not my all-time favorite. So I was glad to see Greg get to draw other heroes at DC as well. Back at Marvel now. And then there you go. So I'm just going to scroll through this and see if I see Nick Bradshaw's name. And if I do, well, actually, I don't even have to look for that. Just look for, that was Scott Eaton. There you go. Just look for Art Adams. If there's no Art Adams mentioned, I don't even have to look for Nick's name, because that means, yeah, Nick Bradshaw. So yeah, Nick's work is in here, not Art's. There you go. Love that. So guys, once again, if you can make it to an Ollie's, I got all 3 of these for $6 plus tax. I can even do that math. We're looking at like $6.38, right? $16 cover price, brand new. Ollie's, good stuff, cheap. Ollie's sponsored. Andy's Book Look, sponsored by Ollie's. I wish, but I do get a lot of good stuff from them. Not just books. Guys, thank you for joining me on the first book look of the new year. I will get 51 of these done for you guys, but there's 52 weeks in a year. Guys, I take the week off for Christmas, but that's way a year from now. So every Tuesday, 8 a.m., I will drop a book look. I pull something off my shelf, go through it page by page so you can see if you want to buy it. And if it's available, I post links. Thank you for joining me. Go check out my current campaign, Nice and Tight, the comic book pencil art of Andy Smith. It is now 64 pages, an oversized book showing some of my favorite pencil pages that I did over the past 20 years for other companies. You won't want to miss it. If you weren't the inker or the editor, you probably haven't seen these pages. It comes as a digital format. Check out the trailer. Like, subscribe, and share. I'll catch you guys next time on another book look. And, of course, I'm starting up. I started it a few weeks ago. Every Thursday, I'm trying to drop a video time-lapse of my drawing just a character. Whether it's from a friend of mine or it's an established character. That's what I'm doing. So check those out as well. And I do live streams. Thanks, guys. Love you all. Happy New Year again. See you later. Bye-bye. Nice and Tight, the comic book pencil art of Andy Smith. That's me. This book features 52 pages of some of my favorite full pencils that I did for other companies over the past 2 decades. The raw pencils as they were seen by the inker, and now you can see them for the first time. This book also comes in a digital format so you can practice your inking in your favorite program. Back it today.